At his peak, he was making so much money that rats were eating $1 billion a year in stored cash. Not stolen, not lost, just eaten, because there was simply too much to count. This is the story of Pablo Escobar, the man who turned cocaine into the most profitable criminal enterprise in human history. A man so powerful, he once offered to pay off Colombia's entire national debt just to stay out of prison. But every empire, no matter how enormous, has a breaking point. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1st, 1949, in a small town called Rio Negro, Colombia. He wasn't born into wealth. He wasn't born into power. He was born into poverty. The son of a farmer and a schoolteacher, growing up in the working-class outskirts of Medellín. But even as a teenager, Pablo was different. He was ambitious in a way that made people uncomfortable. He told his friends he would be a millionaire before he turned 30. Most of them laughed. Nobody was laughing for long. In his early years, Escobar started small, stealing tombstones, reselling them, running street-level scams. He graduated to car theft, contraband, and eventually, kidnapping. He was building something, learning how money moved, how power worked, how fear could be used as currency. By the time he was in his mid-20s, he had already caught the attention of local criminals, and one of them introduced him to something that would change his life and the world forever: cocaine. In the late 1970s, cocaine was exploding in popularity across the United States. Miami was soaked in it. Hollywood was celebrating it. Wall Street was fueled by it. Demand was skyrocketing, and supply couldn't keep up. The American market for cocaine was worth tens of billions of dollars, and almost nobody had figured out how to truly dominate it at scale. That vacuum was the opportunity Pablo Escobar had been waiting for his entire life. Colombia had the climate. It had the coca plants. It had desperate, underpaid workers willing to harvest them. What it didn't have was organization. What it didn't have was someone ruthless and visionary enough to build a real operation from the ground up. Escobar became that person. He formed alliances with coca paste suppliers in Peru and Bolivia. He built processing labs hidden deep in the Colombian jungle. He established smuggling routes through the Caribbean, using boats, planes, and eventually, custom-built submarines. He didn't just join the drug trade. He industrialized it. By the early 1980s, Escobar had co-founded what became known as the Medellín Cartel, one of the most powerful criminal organizations the world had ever seen. At its height, the cartel was supplying an estimated 80% of the cocaine entering the United States. 80%. The money was beyond comprehension. At peak operations, Escobar's organization was generating roughly $420 million per week. He was spending $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to bundle the cash. He became the 7th richest person on the planet. Forbes magazine listed him. His net worth reached an estimated $30 billion, and he spent it in extraordinary ways. He built his own private zoo, complete with hippos, elephants, and giraffes, on his 7,000-acre estate, Hacienda Napoles. He funded housing projects for the poor in Medellín. He built churches, football fields, schools in the slums. To his neighbors, to the people of his city, Pablo Escobar wasn't a monster. He was a hero. He even ran for political office and won a seat in Colombia's Congress in 1982. For one brief, surreal moment. A cocaine billionaire was also a sitting politician. His strategy was simple and brutal. Plata o plomo, silver or lead. You take the bribe, or you take the bullet. Police officers, judges, politicians, journalists. Everyone had a choice. Most chose silver. Those who didn't last long. But no empire this large could hide from the world forever. By the mid-1980s, the pressure was building from every direction. The United States government declared a full-scale war on drugs. The DEA flooded Colombia with agents, intelligence, and resources. Colombian authorities, emboldened by American backing, began cracking down on cartel operations. Extradition treaties threatened to send Escobar to American prisons, something he feared above everything else. His response was war. Escobar launched a campaign of terror so savage, it shook Colombia to its foundations. He ordered the assassination of Colombia's justice minister. He bombed the headquarters of the secret police. He blew up a commercial aircraft, Avianca Flight 203. killing 107 innocent passengers, simply because he believed a political rival was on board. In 1989 alone, Escobar's cartel was responsible for the deaths of over 3,000 people in Colombia. 3,000. He was at war with the government, at war with rival cartels, and increasingly, at war with a shadowy paramilitary group called Los Peeps. Enemies who had decided that if the law couldn't stop Escobar, they would. In 1991, facing mounting pressure, Escobar negotiated a stunning deal with the Colombian government. He agreed to surrender, on one condition: he would build his own prison. He called it La Catedral, and it was unlike any prison in history. Escobar equipped it with a football field, a bar, a jacuzzi, and a waterfall. He continued running his empire from inside the walls. He held business meetings. He ordered hits. He entertained guests. The guards worked for him. When the Colombian government finally tried to transfer him to a real facility in 1992, Escobar simply walked out, and the final chapter began. The manhunt that followed was one of the most intense in history. Colombia formed a specialized unit called the Search Block, trained and assisted by the DEA, the CIA, and U.S. Special Forces. Los Peeps were systematically destroying everything Escobar valued: his assets, his allies, his family's sense of safety. Escobar was on the run, moving between safe houses across Medellín. He was isolated. His cartel was fracturing. His most trusted lieutenants were being killed or arrested, one by one. He began calling his family on the phone, and that was the mistake. On December 2nd, 1993, one day after his 44th birthday, Colombian security forces traced one of those calls to a quiet house in the Los Olivos neighborhood of Medellín. They surrounded the building. A firefight broke out. Pablo Escobar was shot and killed as he attempted to flee across a rooftop. A single bullet wound to the head. The man who had threatened to bring Colombia to its knees, who had outrun governments and militaries and intelligence agencies for over a decade, died on a rooftop, alone and afraid. The photograph of his body spread across the world within hours. The most wanted man on earth was gone. Pablo Escobar's story is often told as a tale of power, and it is. But beneath the billions, the private zoos, and the political ambition, it's really a story about the price of unchecked hunger. He wanted wealth. He built it, on the bodies of thousands. He wanted power. He achieved it, until it consumed him entirely. He wanted to be loved. And in Medellín, many did love him. But the violence he unleashed left a scar on Colombia that took generations to begin healing. The cocaine trade didn't die with Escobar. It adapted. Other cartels rose. Other routes opened. Other men with the same ruthless ambition stepped into the vacuum. Because the real lesson of Pablo Escobar isn't about one man's rise and fall. It's about what happens when extraordinary ambition meets zero moral restraint, and a world willing to pay any price for what you're selling. Power, it turns out, is the most addictive drug of all.